Hello and welcome to the District 32 Business Leader Series, where we interview business leaders, CEOs, managing directors and founders so that we can learn from their experience and access wisdom. Today I'm Lorraine Garvey. I'm Lorraine Garvey all the time, but today I am with Dinesh Aggarwal. Now you are the founder and managing director of Fortuna Advisory Group. Hello Dinesh.
Hello, Lorraine. Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Friday, can't complain, heading into a long weekend, so wouldn't get better than that.
And the landscape is busy, isn't it? It's busy.
Landscape is not busy, it's mental.
Mental.
So there's a lot of activity out there. People, especially we see amongst our client base that people are really, business owners are really busy, and some of them can't cope up with the amount of activity out in the market just because of shortage of resources, especially in the trade sector. So even as you can see, a lot of activity in the building and construction. And I was catching up with one of my clients yesterday, and he said he can't get the brickies because all the big builders are just paying ridiculous off the roof just to get the brickies, and similarly other trades, they're all finding shortage to recruit good staff.
Wow, it's definitely an equal balance of the positive and the negative out there. On one hand, we're struggling to keep up with the amount of work, but we're also struggling personally because we're taking on the load because we can't get access to the talent, the resources, and the staff.
Yeah, and then whether that whole thing is sustainable, that's always at the back of our mind. And as you are riding the wave of growth, what sort of challenges would you face if that's not a very sustainable journey? But to keep optimism up, I think Western Australia probably would keep into this momentum for the coming 2 to 3 years at least. I hope some of the struggling businesses probably would get an opportunity to recover if they use the wisdom and the government stimuluses to invest to get their businesses out of that any struggle phase they had.
Interesting times indeed. But we'll put a pin in that comment there, Dinesh, and we'll come back and we'll review that in 2 to 3 years' time.
Yes, sure. Yeah, for sure.
So look, Dinesh, what we're talking about today is strategic growth planning. And you're going to share some of your experiences and your wisdom around those areas. But before we get into it, Fortuna Advisory Group, you have a large company and you've broken off into many different areas as part of your growth strategy. So we can see on the screen there, you offer tax and business advisory services, legal services, mortgage broking, and financial planning. Now, that wouldn't have happened overnight. So no. Could you give me a little a synopsis or a snapshot of what led you down those paths and why you decided on branching into the different areas as part of your own growth strategy?
Yeah, for sure, Lorraine. I always like to talk about my journey. So 10 years ago, when I look back, how that decade is almost gone. It's sort of mind-blowing to when you sort of recap your journey looking back. So around 2011, 2012, when I moved out of another accounting practice as a partner and started Fortuna as an independent accounting practice. Of course, just started as a small accounting or tax practice, but I always had a vision to grow the practice into a multidisciplinary or a holistic service or multi-divisional. Back then I was interviewed by CPA Australia. I remember, and the video is still there on our website. My vision about and the gaps we have in the public practice domain. And the video was particularly to showcase the best practices in public practice area. I always had the vision that I want to grow the practice into a multidiscipline because there is a big gap in the market, the clients are not able to get a holistic solution. And there's a lot of synergies and efficiencies when you can provide a holistic solution to a client where they don't have to sort of run around to different advisors and not being able to implement a consistent and a comprehensive advice. And there's always a friction in the system because not everyone is on the same page, and whether you are able to develop a robust and a comprehensive solution to solve the client's problem. So we started sort of gradually growing into sort of natural progression. First was to start the financial planning, which we did quite early in the early stages, sort of within a year or so after starting the practice. And we were back in Joondalup then, and we started a first branch office in West Perth with our financial planning division. The next logistical sort of step was to start the legal division, which was perhaps the most difficult for us to implement. And it took me a couple of years to find the right sort of partner or the right person to bring in to head the legal division. And that sort of search process took me a while, and there was a lot of challenges in the process. But we finally managed to get there. I started the legal division, in a very small way. Started doing, sort of basic commercial work, trying to solve the client's problems. But the focus was again that the whole model, sort of all the divisions in the whole model fit sort of to each other to develop that comprehensive holistic solution for a client. And then we gradually sort of developed our fourth mortgage broking division over a period of time. And we're proud, apart from the challenges we faced along the way, we're proud that we managed to prove what we wanted to grow into this model, and very proud to eventually being awarded in 2019 the Best Multi-Service Firm of the Year at the National Australian Accounting Awards.
Well done, that's a massive achievement.
Thank you.
Must be very proud.
Definitely, it was a proud moment for the entire team, and we worked hard to get there, to be recognized.
And I think just in listening to that journey, what we can see there is, because as business owners, we do know over time that it's cheaper or less expensive to service our existing clients than it is to keep finding new clients. So therefore it would make sense to look at the holistic needs of one customer who you've already built that relationship with, and then to offer additional services rather than a completely different growth strategy, which might be just to obtain more and more and more of the same kind of client for the same kind of work.
Yes, that's true. So it's very important that we keep identifying the needs of our clients. And a lot of times we normally don't do that because we're just so much busy in doing our day-to-day work, and we just try to turn around the work we just get in our doors. We just don't spend that enough time with our clients just to try to identify what's going on in their business lives, what is the goal they want to achieve, and can we help them from sort of comprehensively from all the solutions we have within our skill set and our domain to be able to create the solutions for your clients. So that's what philosophy we live here at Fortuna, that we want to embark on a journey with a client where we identify the goals of not only the businesses, but for themselves as the business owners, and help them to embark on that journey to fulfill their dreams, their goals, and their financial freedom.
Okay. So that leads me into, we're talking about strategic growth and strategic growth planning, but what does that really mean? Give us a Fortuna Advisory Group definition of strategic growth planning.
So as I just mentioned, it is very important that we identify what are future goals and visualize how the business will look like when we reach our goals. So when we compare that with the status of our business today, it raises the question, how are we going to get there? And that is the beginning of the strategic planning process, which will then involve the identification of each element of the business that would need to be worked on, This will involve market research, your industry analysis, your competitor analysis, and so on and so forth. So the strategic plan then sort of that leads to the development of a roadmap, which has to be one A3 page document that guides us on a daily basis for the actions we need to take within a reasonable time frame, and each action will have an implementation plan. So this would then need a continuous monitoring and evaluation process, and this makes the business owner and the team accountable, and they also feel very empowered being on that journey of growth.
I think you also, because as you said before, we do get caught up in the busyness, and sometimes when we look at planning, we have the goal in mind, but not the steps to get there that are we've sat down and we've taken the thinking time to think reasonably and logically about the steps we can take. But often What we find is business owners, they forget the where, they haven't done the visioning part. And they're just like, well, this is the problem, how do I fix it? This is the problem, how do I fix it? And we just go that now how, without actually keeping in line the long-term vision, and are our daily actions supporting that long-term vision?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you really have a clear vision of where you want to get to, you need that strategic map, you need that roadmap to guide you along the way to get there. And that whole exercise is very strategic in terms of what it entails, the clarity it brings on the table, and it gives you that roadmap, which is very robust, which each kind of milestone having an implementation plan with a clear guide how we're getting there.
Yeah. Now, do you think we've all met business owners who are those overnight successes? So it looks like from the outside. But do you think, based on your experience, do you think some people can just be lucky in business? And I love that term, we make it in spite of ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you think people can be just lucky in business, or do you think that to have substantial growth that you need that careful planning? Have you witnessed the lucky ones out there? What's your opinion there?
See, every business success has a story behind it, right? As we at Fortuna have grown, many people have made comments, well, how lucky we are. But I think I disagree to some extent. Luck definitely plays a role, to what opportunities present in front of you. But nothing comes without planning, focus, and determination, and the appetite for risk and resilience to face those challenges. And I'm sure most, if not every business owner would have faced enormous challenges during their careers. So what can you do to tackle these challenges and adopt a strategic approach to build your business is that's going to matter at the end, because the opportunities may present, which your luck may bring to be the right person at the right place. And but if you don't have that strategic approach on how you're going to tackle those opportunities and your resilience and how to face those challenges that's going to come across the way, you perhaps reach success, may not be determined or definite. So through my experiences and amongst various factors of the strategic planning, I've learned that there are three critical areas to focus on as part of that entire journey. Number one, invest in your team. Number two, capital and finance. And number three, to expect the unexpected.
That's interested in your definitions or your examples there. Could you just elaborate a little bit more on each of those three areas for us, Dinesh? So invest in your team. What do you actually mean there? What do you do to invest? Is that Friday night drinks? Is it?
Yeah. Okay, so how I look at it, so any growth, as we know, brings a major challenge in maintaining a cohesive team and a work culture, which is going to inspire people towards a long-term commitment with your vision. And it doesn't come easy. Every time you think you've inspired a team member, you get a surprise, because each person has different underlying levers and motivational factors. And this is one area where I had made many mistakes. I was not giving enough time to my team and used to sort of lose patience and my focus was my clients and not my team.
Yeah.
And due to this, I was losing some good people in the journey. And I realized that the topmost thing in your business is your people. Since then, we've invested a lot in looking after the mental health and well-being of the staff. So work-life balance has become important, and the healthy and the realization that the healthy work culture will make the team very productive, which eventually leads to the business success.
And those mistakes are costly mistakes when we're talking about people. And I guess when you're talking about investing in the team, it's about looking at each member of your team as you would a client, and know
Exactly.
them really, really well, and know what their needs are and how they're going to be fulfilled. And that becomes really challenging as your team grows.
Yeah, definitely. If you try to put your org chart upside down, you need to see at the top of the ladder is not the CEO. The CEO is at the bottom of the ladder, because he's going to service his next level of management, and they're going to service the next level of management, and eventually to the sort of ground level team who's facing the customer. So if your end goal is to get a good experience to the customer, you need to start sort of working in a reverse order to give your frontline staff that experience that is sort of tickling from bottom up, and they then face that client to give that experience.
And I think that's important for people listening. Investing in the team means investing not only in the culture and the team as a whole, but each member individually. And
Exactly.
the CEO is a support role, not a dictator role or a director role. It's a support role. At the bottom of the pile, supporting everybody in the organisation.
Yeah, definitely.
Dinesh, you also spoke about a second critical area there, which was around capital and finance. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
So another major bottleneck with your growth is the capital required and the availability of the appropriate finance if you don't have deep pockets. So it's important to build a good credibility and finance history so the banks run after you instead of away from you.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And you have to be strategic about it. You have to create that buzz, not only in your marketing, but how you portray yourself to the financiers. You have to start small, put your life savings in so that the banks can see that you've got enough skin in the game. Once the banks gain confidence in your business, on your finance ethics, they will tend to open the doors for you. And a brick by brick from there keeps you going to build that structure. One fundamental rule, I have sort of in my life, that I never default in paying my bills and my lenders. I'll try to buy more time where required, but I'll work with them so that the expectations never fall short. And this is something I've learned early on from my mentor, and it's gone a long way in shaping my financial discipline.
Okay, so not only, have some reserves in the bank for that, I'm sure you're going to talk about that in point number 3, expect the unexpected, but it's going a step further. We know that we need finances to grow, for staff, for marketing, for advertising. We need capital for all that sort of stuff. But what you're saying is go a step further than that and have a really solid reputation, so that if you do need access to capital, when the opportunity does arise, that you're in a solid position to do so.
Definitely. And to do that, you need to build your credibility in your finance, in the market, which comes how you treat your suppliers, how you pay your suppliers, how you develop that credibility in terms of being paying your suppliers and the financiers on time.
Okay, so that's tip number 2 there for people who are listening. Make sure that you've got a credible and financial record, and that people are willing to give you money,
Exactly.
Are willing to loan you money.
Yes.
And that's going to lead us nicely into expect the unexpected, because I'm sure that never happens in business. Where did that come from? But what do you mean there, Dinesh? Give us a little bit more insights there.
Yeah, so you can have a best team, right? A strong credit rating and a booming business. However, we've all found out these last few months that we really don't know what the future holds. So not everything in your journey will go according to the plan, right? There'll be curveballs which will throw you off the track and sometimes shatter your mental strength. That is why a risk plan is very important in any strategic planning. Not only to mitigate the risk, but to survive any adverse consequences. You cannot really calculate every risk in the business and life. So therefore, sometimes you have to go with the flow and adapt to the situation. But ask yourself, is your business agile enough to survive any uncalculated risks? You have to be really unfortunate if you face some severe circumstances for your business to cripple. And that can happen if you have no survival plans and not agile enough to adapt and come out of it. And it highlights a very important role of your marketing team to undertake market research on your industry, to see what is coming in the next decade and prepare for it. Now, our initial market research on top 100 accounting firms to develop our roadmap gave us enough stats on the emerging features of the firms of future, and it would have been ignorant of us if we were crafting a roadmap of growth with the features of the firms existing back in 2015. So we worked on to have the features of how the firms will look like in 2021. So we didn't want to have an extinct model by the time we were reaching our milestone. So we now in such a fast changing world with digital disruption, artificial intelligence, and other disruptive models, the pace of change is just phenomenal. The change we used to acknowledge in 10 years is now visible in literally 12 months. So if you're not alert all the time, you could be left behind.
That's right. Pay attention to not only the past and the present, but take some time to look at what's coming in technology and I think this will put a timestamp on this interview. But I mean, this is 12 months, nearly 11 months since COVID-19 hit Australia, and I'm pretty sure the majority of business owners out there could not have foreseen that. What would happen if the borders are closed, and what would happen to trade and resources and anybody in the hospitality business or an events business? You know, you could never have foreseen that. But, you know, do we ask ourselves, what is the worst that can happen? What is the absolute worst that can happen, and how would we handle that?
Yeah, so I mean, there's so much uncertainty still out there because we don't know how, you know, especially what happened in WA suddenly after the level of complacency came to us and suddenly went into 1 week lockdown. And everyone thought, well, is this going to be another disaster? That's right. But I think we were so much prepared already. We had geared our businesses. We've learned some lessons. We forward looking how to make our business agile. So I saw very little impact on sort of the mental state of mind of the businesses compared to last year when they had no idea for first 2 months how they're going to gear themselves up. Yeah. So, you know, this is, I suppose the experiences teach you, but this is once in a lifetime episode. And from there, it's not an experience which you're going to learn. It's probably going to prepare you for future and how to look into future when you're running a business.
Thank you. So, you know, tip number 3 there is be prepared for the unexpected. What is the worst that can happen? And keep that risk register. You know,
yes.
And if you don't know what goes in the risk register, then have a conversation with someone, you know, like yourself, who can give you insights based on your experience with working business owners and what should be in that risk register and how you would overcome that.
Definitely.
So look, thank you very much for that, Dinesh. To wrap up, what I would really love to know is what does growth and success mean to you?
See, as we think about all these different elements we've spoken about, you have to ask yourself a question that what does the growth and success really mean for you, right? Is it being wealthy or accumulating more money? Yes, one needs a sustainable lifestyle and enough wealth to fulfill your dreams. But have we asked ourselves a question, what does it actually mean? Now, to me, it means much more than simple wealth or lifestyle. I want to create something which is bigger than me. And because I believe in building a legacy. I consider myself to be an introvert, as personality. When I look back on my journey, being an introvert has enabled me to view the world through a different lens. It has changed my perspective in life.
Hold on a second there. I seem to have lost your sound, Dinesh. I've lost your sound.
As it is fundamental to any successful business. Sorry, did you miss me there?
I lost your sound there just for a minute, Dinesh. Can you just go back? You were just go back to where you were talking about you're an introvert and that's given you learnings.
Yeah, so I was saying that when I look back on my journey being an introvert, is enabled me to view the world through a different lens. It has changed my perspective in life that how important it is to build relationships, as it is fundamental to any successful business. And because of that philosophy, I immersed myself in the game of building relationships. Now I'm the founder and I'm the current owner of Fortuna Advisory Group. But see, that's not how I look at it. I consider myself to be a caretaker till the future owners emerge. And I get excited by working with people to be ambitious, to achieve what they desire to achieve in business and personal life. Because when you do that, you can create a legacy that is going to continue for generations.
Dinesh, thank you very much. I can't finish on a better note than that line. Look, it's been really wonderful to get to know you a little bit better. There was another tip in there as well for people who are listening around. If you're in business, you're in the relationship business, you're in the people business, and introvert or not, it's a skill that we have to develop. And I think you're very good at it, Dinesh. We were at an event yesterday. I see you regularly. You're very good at the relationship building, whether it comes naturally or not. But look, thank you very much. It's really great to hear about your business, the insights and the wisdom that you share, but also the fact that you're building a legacy. I think that's really inspiring to business owners out there.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. It was my pleasure to be with you here in this interview, and I hope our audiences will learn something from here. And I look forward to cover more of the business journey and some of the other knowledgeable tips I can give to our audiences in our future interviews.
Without a doubt. And thank you very much for listening to the District 32 Business Leader Series with Dinesh Aggarwal, Fortuna Advisory Group. Thank you very much, Dinesh.